Well, the year is almost over, which means it's time to take a look at part 5 of Power Fantasy. We're covering September 28th to December 14th. We're gonna, well, it's sort of December 14th. You'll see what we're talking about. We're going to start with getting up to speed coming out of the Bloody Gala. We did have some interesting results here, like Betsy Hubble evening her series with the rival Mars, Gloria Gold dispatching the former Grand Champion, Akane, and Noah Gripe attempted to defend the medal of the wrestler that he was given by John Bobson before being ambushed by Tsunamania for reasons we're still not totally clear about. I think the music is a little too loud. Let's turn it down just a little bit. Maybe it's just my headset. Either way, next episode. October's first had a good show, including some pyramid action, 2 title defenses. Prince Almas finally going toe-to-toe with his former partner, the Super Knight, and besting him. They were a tag team in the Ultramarines all throughout last year. And then in an episode that would prove to be the calm before the storm, our show built towards the main event of Thermite Party and S&M, a match that would have dire implications. S&M invoked their all-or-nothing clause to put them back in a title match early after their performance at the Bloody Gala. They put their masked identities up on the line, but Rio Russell pinned something else to bring Power Fantasy's darkest day upon us. The events of October 19th, when the Thompson brothers came to Power Fantasy and injured 10 wrestlers, will not be covered in detail out of respect to the wrestlers still recovering from their injuries. The show that happened the next week was held in response with several events that played into the months to come. For example, Tanky Bruce's knee drop giving Rio a concussion that went undiagnosed for 2 months. Ruby Brad getting a shocking pinfall over Kansas Brute Force. The unlikely formation of Mars and Betsy Hubble as a team. Jackalope Kid firmly planting himself as the current head of the Light Championship Division. And Zunli Shah splitting violently from Mistake, leaving Mistake to get picked apart by the FBI's Most Wanted. Thankfully, we were able to take our minds off that drama with some good old-fashioned tournament action in the Fantasy Battle. It's an 8-team tournament where the partners are assigned at random and the winning team goes on to field the teams for the Power World Series, the main event of SPF 21. And the Fantasy Battle didn't disappoint. We had 4 bouts of tremendous action to open the first round, with several wrestlers participating in renewed energy after what happened on the 19th, like Jago being on a mission to win for his injured partner, Ellen Ellis' return from maternity leave, immediately dealing a blow to beat me sicko for starting a new triumphant, but most alarmingly was the emergence of Giselle Thompson. We had no idea who she really was, and she kept it hidden until the very last moment, where she buried Phoebe Keto with the Beyonce drop, revealing herself to be the unmasked identity behind something else, forced to team with a hated rival in progress of this tournament. In retrospect, there were clues to put together about her identity, as Grace Castaneda shared with us, but we didn't have this information in time to keep those 2 enemies from teaming with each other, so this is how it went this time. The main event of the following week featured that tumultuous team, just kind of getting an early out by Sam, who Giselle accused of letting himself get pinned as though rugby's German suplex is some easy hole to kick out of. And on the other end of the bracket, Akane and LNL sent themselves to the finals at the expense of the other half of Dudes Rock, that's Steve Austin. Meanwhile, in the championship circuit, the FBI's Most Wanted registered their second successful defense of the Power Fantasy Tag Team Championships, and most controversially, a public training session for Hierophant and Kansas Brute Force went sideways as he ended up upsetting the ABT Grand Champion and shattering the perception of invincibility that Hierophant has held this year. Now, those expenses that Dude Rock paid in the tournament last week were balanced in week 3 when they forfeited the 3rd place money to fight Giselle and an emergency tag partner who ended up being Tom Ryder in an attempt to convince her to join the Fun Boys International. Now, in championship news, Mon Soleiman returned from focusing on GPW to wrench the PF2 championship from the super rookie, Billy Wett, while Jackalope Kid retained the ABT Light Championship. And in the Fantasy Battle Finals, our 2 finalists went to war for 30 minutes until the match ended in controversial fashion. Akane did actually make the save, but Wu Whiphand, our official at the time, called the 3 count regardless. This frame shows her hand hasn't hit the mat yet while Rugby is rolling off the cover of Ellen Ellis. The referee's decision was final, and Akane was unwilling to play politics to get it overturned since that kind of behavior left her with so many enemies in the first place. It turns out that may have been the absolution she was looking for, but we'll get to that when we start in on the Power World Series. The winner of the Reality League, as you may know, gets one wish granted. Wow, I'm reading the wrong notes. I forgot to write notes. That's total. Okay, you know what? It's been a week, dog. This was the show right before the Power World Series. We announced the teams. We had just a bunch of showcases of the wrestlers who weren't going to be making the show, as well as Prince Almas registering two victories to close out his year. And here were the teams, as revealed, as discussed, of the Power World Series. Team Rugby and Team Jago split evenly. Rugby was awarded the Hierophant on his team for scoring the decisive fall. And the stage was set for the biggest show to close our year on. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about another series of events in GPW. The Thermite Party launched an all-out offensive on GPW, derailing shows and destroying equipment until they got what they wanted, like a championship shot for Young Nowhere, though that reign ended up being short-lived, and another for Mashley Addison, but it ended up with the Thermite Party taking their heavyweight and junior heavyweight titles in short order. Mashley is still the Heavy 500s champion. Now, after forcing RB Manhole's GPW team to fold due to their own tag team division rules, Dr. Cycle over defended her own team by hitting Rhea Russell with the waist matter death spiral on the floor, exacerbating the concussion that she was working. You know, the thing is, Thermite Party isn't allowed to see our doctors because we don't trust that they won't attack people in there that are getting treatment. She attempted to defend the ABT Team Championships with Mashley Addison against the Funhouse in GPW, but that left her susceptible to their power games, and RB ended up pinning Rio Russell to take the ABT Team Championship from the Thermite Party in GPW. And now it's time to talk about the last big show of 2025, the Power World Series. In the first half of the show, the unlikely team of giants, Mars and Betsy Hubble, pulled the Power Fantasy Tag Team Championships off of the FBI's Most Wanted, while Mon survived a four-way for the PF2 Championship bout, and the Funhouse won their all-or-nothing challenge, condemning the Thermite Party's numbers to lessen further. In the Power World Series, we saw 5 great matches with amazing events happening between them. We saw a war between Giselle and Sam. Eddie Hammer do her absolute best against a reticent Bona Me, taking him to the limit. Tanky Bruce making good on the promise of his return with a defeat of Mashley Addison. Akane's karmic reward for not going political over the Power World Series and winning a clean and even match against the Jackalope Kid to become the first wrestler to hold the Grand and Light Championship in their career. And the two original triumphant partners collided in a match we won't soon forget, culminating in victory for Team Rugby. And after all that, we've arrived here. That's the last of the main shows for 2025. Of course, we had PFU live on Monday. And here's what's left to look forward to. Next week, it's the farewell show. We're going to have our champion versus champion bouts and all those other great matches we talked about on Monday. We're going to begin award season on the 21st, which is a Sunday, where we're going to present the nominees, because, you know, we would upload it on Wednesday, but the thing about Wednesday is that's Christmas, and we don't think anyone's going to watch us on Christmas, which is totally fair. But what you can watch on the 22nd is our compilation of the best bouts of 2025 as part of the awards process. And then from there, the awards will unfold, and in the new year, we will see you with Power Fantasy and even more good matches. Whew. What a week. What a month. What a year. Thank you for watching this show. I'm going to go sleep. I'm going to go sleep.